Hello and welcome to a new weekly outlook. Today is the 15th of February 2026, and this will be my first official uploaded YouTube video of me starting to document my trading outlooks journey slash journaling as such, and really just a documentation of everything I do from a week to week slash day to day basis. So yeah, welcome if you're new here, and without further ado, no messing around, let's get straight into it. So every Sunday I like to plan what I would like price to potentially do throughout the week. Now, we're not psychic in a sense of I'm predicting where price wants to go, but with analysis and market structure, we break down the possible scenarios where price might gravitate towards or look to go, seeking either buy side or sell side liquidity. And basically, all I want to do is get in line with part of that move, whether that be a swing trade for a weekly bias or a intraday for a daily bias. Um, so yeah, that's basically all that these weekly outlooks are for. Um, and yeah, as always, what I would like to do on a Sunday is we start on the economic calendar, which is forexfactory.com. This gives me an indication of what red folder slash orange folder news we have for the week, and I like to get an understanding of could it potentially be a swing week, or is it more going to be a slower week due to the lack of folder news, which means it's going to be more of an intraday slash swing bias. Now, as you can see without even diving into the news, there's quite a lot of red folders. Now, Monday we can see we have nothing. Tuesday we've got a red folder for the pound. Wednesday we've got CPI for the pound. Also, we've got FOMC meeting minutes, which is usually a decent driver. Thursday we've got unemployment, and then Friday finish off with retail for the pound, PMI for euro and the pound, also PMI for the dollar, and a Corsi PCE price index and advanced GDP. So Friday it's got the most folders, as you can see. So Friday will probably determine quite a large volatile day. But leading up to that, um, there isn't a great amount. But that's not to say that the market isn't going to move with the lead up to Friday. Um, so yeah, this is the first step of every weekly outlook that is done. And like I say, it's just an indication of what folder news do we have. Big ones like CPI, PPI, NFP, FOMC, all that sort of stuff. We're just calculating, okay, this is going to be a bigger week, it's going to be a slightly smaller week, just off of that aspect of the trading. So yeah, once we've established that, we then jump onto the charts, and we usually will start on the monthly, and we'll just get a gauge of understanding of where we think price is heading on the monthly. We don't take too long here, but it's a good understanding of, okay, February, we're 2 weeks into February, what does the monthly candle look like? Well, we can see that price is traded higher, and currently we are down here. Yes, it's traded lower, but at this present time we have traded a bit in between. Cool. The last month and the month before have been bearish, so overall from a monthly perspective we are more in favor of DXY bearish. And then we come on to the weekly. Now this here is from the last 2 weeks, because the bias has actually not changed over the course of the last 2 weeks. Obviously you're not going to be able to see those weekly outlooks, but I am going to go over it now so you can get an understanding. So from a weekly perspective, what do we have? Well, rewind a few weeks, we can see that price traded into a weekly FVG, which is what this small FVG grey box is, and once we tapped into it, we then displaced off of it extremely bearish with a massive candle. This then created a weekly FVG after the last week of January ended up closing. Yes, you can see it swept a weekly low back in 2022, I think, or 24, whatever it was. It took a lot of sell-side liquidity. So as you can see, this candle finished quite bearish. And bearing in mind these are weekly candles, so they're quite informative in what price is looking to do. So once we created this weekly FVG, what we wanted was price to trade into it, show some sign of respect, and obviously trade lower, just to catch the continuation of bearish price action. Sounds easy, right? On paper it is, it never is. So the first week of February was this candle, and again we wanted price to trade into here, show signs of disrespect, and then obviously short DXY. Now what I will say is we never just take stuff like this off the bat, because the chances are, and we always want to think in probabilities here, yes, price could come into here, but if it doesn't show signs of disrespect, we could just get a continuation for higher price, which means we're going to take an unnecessary loss for no reason. Similarly, we don't want to just short it off the bat, because long it off the bat, sorry, because price could quite easily just come into here and then melt away. So we just want to wait for confirmation, and that's what swing trading allows us to do. Sorry for the ads. So last week we can see, and I actually took a loss on this, because you can see that this is what we wanted, but in actual fact it never really gave us the opportunity, and price was extremely choppy on a daily and a 4-hour time frame, which you're going to see as soon as I click onto the daily time frame. But what I just want to say from a weekly perspective, that I do want to see this move still happen. Yes, we closed here, but can we just get something like this for the rest of the week? So jumping down onto the daily, and as you can notice, we start from the monthly, the weekly, and we're just continuing down on the time frames. We get key areas marked, so previous week high, this was the high. Now Monday was the most volatile day, which is usually unusual, especially when there's no news driver, which last week there wasn't. Wednesday we actually had NFP, which is the biggest driver, and Friday we had CPI, which is also one of the biggest drivers. But as you can see from a daily point of view, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is absolute chop. So, and this is the reason why I took a loss, because my invalidation actually never got triggered, but after CPI was released, I wasn't too happy with the current price action, and I decided I didn't want to hold over the weekend. The bias might still be correct, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to hold over the weekend, therefore I closed out the trade. So going on to the 4-hour, as you can see, this was NFP candle here. We traded into this 4-hour, which actually coincided with a daily FVG as well, which is what this big box is here. But as you can see as well, which I've just failed to mention, we've got a bullish daily FVG. So when Monday traded all the way down and tapped into it, from here was the confirmation that two things were going to happen. We were either going to respect the daily, and as you can see, we've had no candle closure below. We're going to respect the daily and then trade higher, or we're going to do the polar opposite, trade into it, show signs of bearish, and obviously displace out of it. Again, sounds easy, right? And trading should be easy in a sense of understanding where price wants to go. But when you get chop unprecedented like such, sometimes these things happen. The market isn't always going to give us exactly what we want, and we understand that. So coming into this week, like I say, I'm still in favour of DXY actually going for the swing low down here, but we just want to have some form of confirmation. And one thing I want to note is I will be interested to see if, and I'm going to mark out this daily high here, which is NFP high, as a draw target. The reason for that is quite often and I've got data to back this up. When we have a tap into a POI like such, a daily FVG like such, we could very well much get a trade that actually sweeps the buy side liquidity, and then we end up getting the move down. So straight off the bat of my weekly outlook, this is what I would like to see. Alternatively, if price does start to trade immediately lower, I would in fact still be in favour of my euro long bias, which is what this is. As you can see, I've never got stopped out of the trade. I just manually exited because of how price action was currently on Friday after CPI. Again, the market doesn't need to give me this, but this is what I would like to see. And if it does, then of course I will be interested. Like I say, alternatively, price could just actually trade lower, and if it does, I would be interested in, of course, just catching the move lower, and I will be happy to re-enter my position and go again. So yeah, that is my first YouTubed weekly outlook. I hope that this gives some clarification or idea of what goes into me as a trader, what I do week in, week out. And throughout the week, what happens, if nothing really happens, I won't do a daily outlook, but I like to keep on top of the market and updating what I do during the week, just to judge current price action and areas of interest that I might be looking to take a buy or sell from. So yeah, that's it for the weekly outlook. I say, hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything that you'd like to say in the comments, great. If not, drop a like, drop a follow, just to see the journey that I am on in the trading industry. Yeah, and yeah, I would just also like to say I will continuously upload these from the week of a weekly outlook, daily outlooks if there's any during the week, and then I will do a weekly recap to go over the week, whether that's trades that I've taken, trades that I've not taken, what's happened during the week, was it a winning week, was it a losing week, was it a break-even week, etc., etc. It's all part of documentation for myself, and then, like I say, just to see if anybody is interested in this type of content. So, yep, that's it. That's me out. And say, if you have any questions, drop them below.